Carthage must be destroyed. I'm doing another vlog, a painting vlog here today. I just filmed one, but for some reason it didn't focus and the volume didn't work out really well. So instead of doing a full-on painting one like I did last time, I'm just going to show you guys and talk a bit here about what I'm working on. Because I think holding the camera also at the side also makes it easier for me to edit, and you can see things a bit more clear. So you can see here, I've showed this before, but I'm finishing up the last 4 units on this base here. I have done up one of these resin movement trays here, as you can see, and right now what I've done is I have put together, I'll just reach over here and show you. I don't have the other two out, but I have made these two fellows here on their 40mm base, and I glued them on first, and then I worked up the dirt with sterling mud, put in as much on as I like, and I actually have a Roman here on the side that just got a bit of Agrax earthshade on him. But I basically build up the mud, then I wash it Agrax, and then after that's dry, I will just use a bit of Steel Legion Drab and Screaming Skull, and I will dry brush on top of that. It's very simple, kind of gives it a bit of a brown look, because usually, as you can see here, I fill my guys completely with just grass. I like that grassy look. I think it looks cool. So I only want a bit of the brown and a bit of the earth to come through, but I also don't want it to be totally brown. So I will just cover up most of the brown stuff there when I end up basing it. And then I will cover the most dark spots with grass and try to leave some spots out for just some dirt effect, because I don't think the soil is completely brown at all times, but it definitely helps if you're doing lighter grass to have a darker look on it, like so. So I want to show you guys here too what I do with 40mm bases. People have asked me this before too, so I thought it'd be nice to share. Is I always finish the 4 guys first before putting them on a 40mm base, and then I measured out against other troops to make sure there's enough room to fit shields and other troops in front of them. And then what I do is I glue 2 of the guys I want in the back on first, and then I will put down the dirt like you see here. I put down the dirt, it'll look something like this single Roman guy here, which I'm still working on. And then he just got some Agrax Earthshade on him. And the Agrax Earthshade, when that dries, I'll use, this is all Citadel paint, I'll use Steel Legion Drab to dry brush it, and then I put Screaming Skull on top of that. And it kind of gives you an earthy look. So when I put down grass, and you've seen my models where I put down quite a bit of grass on my guys, when I put down grass, then I let some of the lighter spots pop out and try and cover all the dark spots. And I don't let too much pop out, because I do think grass is kind of, I like the look of grass all over the place. Yeah, that's what I do. If there's any imperfections around the foot, the grass will cover it too. Then you glue bushes and stuff on top of that like that. And then when I finish these shields here, get the decals on and everything, I will glue the 2 on there, let them dry, and then I'll glue the other 2 guys on the front. And once they're glued on, I'll finish the front of this base the same way as the back you see there, and then I'll put the final touches on the shields after they're glued on and the base is done there. So that just is how I put together 40mm bases and troops on them, because I find that if you try and glue all the guys on first, it's harder to get at the dirt, and it's also harder to paint and put together shields as well. So I just do 2 at a time in the back, and then I move to the front after. So today, what I am working on other than that is that I am putting together shields, and I explained what I was doing before, but I'll explain here again. I am putting these shields together, and I'm using Little Big Men Studio decals here. Oh man, it's so much better to film sideways instead of having to angle myself with one. I was using this phone holder, an old phone holder my wife has, and I can't tell at the angle if it's filming right, so this is way more clear. But these are the decals I've chosen for these next 4 shields here. And what I'd like to talk about in this vlog today, is how do you guys go about decorating your shields? I like to use LBMS for the Samnites here, these Italian allies I'm putting together, because I want them to be colorful, bright, and just have lots of character. But if you've seen my Romans before, I don't have the shields out. I make them a little more uniform. I've been putting just resin yellows and very simple water slide decals on from VVV Decals. I like them for the Romans, but for these guys, I just went kind of nuts because I wanted more individualism. And I might do it for my Romans later, but I won't be using LBMS because Little Big Man Studio decals, if you've ever looked at them before, are a little pricey. You know, one sheet of decals costs quite a bit for decals, whereas water slides you can get a lot more for cheap. So I'm just wondering, what do you guys do for your shields? Do you guys like to use LBMS? Do you like to use water slide decals? Do you like to freehand? Freehand is something else I would love to try. I haven't done it for shields yet, but I think what I'm going to do in the future is I'm going to try them on some late medieval forces. I want to do the Burgundian Wars, but not just the Burgundian Wars. I want to do work on the Savoyard forces in Burgundia versus the specifically rather, I want to work on Bern versus Savoy. They had a bit of a war at the Battle of La Planta, where the southernmost part of basically the Swiss had some conflict with the Savoy in the north, in their part. And they had a bit of a war, and Bern mercenaries came down and fought with the feudal state of Savoy. Savoy is kind of a gatekeeper province at that time between Italy and France, and they do become their own. They do have a duke and a kind of an official title in the Holy Roman Empire, but they're kind of a mix of French and Italian forces. So my idea is that I'm going to put a combination of both Savoyard troops, which would be more French troops, plus Italian troops in there. So it's going to be kind of a cool mix of both feudal, Italian, and Savoy troops. And I'm not going to make them like totally decked out in heavy Milanese or Gothic plate, but I'm going to kind of combine it all together. And then eventually I want to get some more of a Bern and the Swiss pikemen going and have a bit of a not quite as an advanced war as what Burgundian was bringing with all their riflemen and their advanced tactics and stuff when they're fighting the Swiss. But I do kind of like that feudal state with a bit of the modern stuff mixed in. So that's what I'm going to do with freehanding shields. But yeah, what do you guys do with your shields? Do you like to use the expensive, nice-looking LBMS decals? Do you like to freehand? Do you like to use water slide decals? Or do you just like to make them a plain white or blue or what, green and red, or whatever you want to do? What do you guys do with your decals? I'd like to, make that a bit of a topic for this little vlog. But yeah, that's what I've been working on. When these guys are done, I'm going to jump into my Afghanistan tribal forces for the 19th century. I've showed you guys that before in the previous vlog. So yeah, let me know. What do you think of LBMS decals? I think they're really good. I'm not going to show you guys here. I still have to paint these up a bit. But when you're working with LBMS decals, most of them are very easy to put together. You basically cut them out, you trim them. You can see here, you can trim them around the edges and just kind of press them down. Put some water behind them as you press them down, and then they'll stick after about 30 seconds to a minute, and then you pull them off. You can protect them with decal fix and decal set and stuff like that. I find with the dome ones though, they have hot plate ones. You can see on a hot blonde that it is domed, right? Those shields are domed so they don't sit exactly flat. What I do with these is that I will score the back of the dome ones, and I'll cut it like a pizza. I'll cut like a kind of a circle in the back, cut it into pizza slices, and then I will cut them a second circle inside the middle of that circle with the pizza slices. And you don't want to cut too deep, because if you cut too deep, you'll cut right into this decal and ruin it. So you cut really lightly, and I find that stretches the decal out just enough to cover those dome decals. So if you do these circle ones from LBMS, you just gotta, and they explain it in the instructions, how you can set it better than these flat ones. The flat ones are easy in comparison, but this one you have to be careful a little bit, or else sometimes, I'll show you guys here, I think I got an example here. You can kind of see on the side there, you see how it's kind of creased? You get some white popping out, because you do have to paint the base of the shields with these white to get the right color. And you can see there how some of it popped out. I've actually painted that in there. From a distance, this doesn't look all that bad, but when you get up close, you can see that, yeah, there's some flaws and errors. But, from the distance where most people are going to see it, it looks great, I think. So yeah, let me know in the comment section, what kind of decals do you use? Do you use water slide, LBMS, or do you just paint everything on? Alright, well, I'm going to go paint here, and I'm not going to show you paint, because like I said, this this phone holder isn't doing it for me. I used to have one of those awesome, it was an arm that you could stretch and pull around and position. You didn't have to touch, you just have to film and stuff, but I gave it away to a friend. I should have kept it, because It would have been really useful. You know, I could have an arm going in around it, had a light on it. Maybe I'll get another one. It's sort of based out of China where I got it. I could maybe get another one for future use. Or I could get a proper camera. That would have helped as well instead of using a cell phone. So thank you guys all for watching. And I'll keep updating this channel with all sorts of things. See you guys and have a good one.